Yo guys, welcome to the MDco podcast. In my time of barbering, I have met the most incredible people and have had the privilege to have the most intimate conversations with them. We would like to share with you their stories and life experiences through a real life conversation as they sit in the chair. Make sure you leave a comment or anything you would like to discuss below. In this episode, we speak with artist and tattooist Zach, aka Neighborhood Tats. This podcast revolves around time, passion and purpose. We also touch on his first experience getting tattooed and what led him into becoming a tattooist. Good to see you, bro.
Yeah, man. It's been a while.
I know, it's been a while. Hair's growing out. Jeez.
Yeah.
Never give it a slick back.
That'll be the day. I've been questioned whether to grow my... I think I got someone offered to pay me like $100 if I grew my hair into a hairstyle.
Do it, bro. I'll pay $100 for that.
Nah.
Why not?
I don't know, too many hair products. Literally, wake up, shower, go to work.
It's the way. It's the way. I'm actually thinking about doing that when I get married. Just shave my head.
Yeah? Fresh start.
Yeah, fresh start. New hairstyle, new me, new wife.
Yeah.
New life.
I think it's kind of part of the reason I like shaving my head. Or getting it down to zeros. Every week it's like you shed all the old stuff from the week before. It's like a weird meditation.
It's good though, it's good to understand it. It's like a kind of any haircut, it's like, you know, getting all those bad juju off, you know.
Kind of like the Buddhist philosophy of be able to sense like your surroundings in the universe.
Yeah, definitely.
And shedding the hairs, shedding the ego.
Definitely. Well, actually, in I think it's the Indian culture. If anyone passes, they shave their head.
Yeah.
For like in the morning.
Mhm.
I actually I got a. It was really cool because like you know, it was sad at the same time. This guy came in when I was working at a barber shop, and he's just like, oh, I'm just gonna shave my head, blah blah blah. I was like, okay, cool. And then he's just like, yeah, it's for my grandmother, blah blah blah. Just she's passed away, and in my culture we shave our heads like within morning kind of thing.
Mhm.
And he literally just sat there the whole time. He sat there quiet, like with his eyes closed. And then once he was done, he like pretty much, it was like he was praying the whole time, and then he like just like then did that Father, Son, and Holy Spirit kind of thing, or like whatever they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty special.
Yeah.
So you used to have long hair though, hey?
Yeah, back when I was I think I was 19, 20. I had really long hair down to my shoulders, and I shaved it completely off to give it to cancer.
I remember that.
Yeah, and they didn't take my hair because it had too many dreadies and it was too curly to use. So yeah, I had this huge ball of hair and went over to my grandmother's house and she started crying because I'd shaved my Goldilocks off.
And did you ever go back to it?
No, never. It's been almost 15 years of, no, 10 years. I don't even know how old I am. I think I'm still a kid.
That's right, I think we're all kid, eh?
Yeah.
It's not until you get to like 35. So another 5 more years for you, eh?
Yeah. Well, no, it's kind of strange, like, kind of wig out sometimes with how many random things I've tried in my life. It's kind of like you live alternate lives within your lifetime. And you're like, wow, it's so different. And it's only been like, just turned 30. But just in 30 years, I feel like I've lived 3 or 4 alternate lives.
That's pretty good, eh? That's, do you feel like it's gone quick though?
Yes and no. I always find at points where you're at your most still, like, say you're out surfing or you're camping or in the wilderness somewhere, it's nice to have time go by slowly or with no real concept of time. I think that's a true way to relax or have a vacation.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
to have no concept of time or place, just that if it's, sunny, nighttime, cold or hot,
Or if you're hungry.
or if you're hungry, eat. It's like, think about showering, it's like, not sure yet. That's another reason to have a shaved head. Your concept of shower time is like questionable. Just kidding.
You're not. No. I bet your house, man. You have no shower.
Yeah, no
No
showers.
shower. He just has a hose.
Yeah. It's man stuff. Yeah.
Chopping trees down and a hose.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting that time though, like how we put this pressure on us to get things done in a certain time, and how much just that made up thing puts so much stress in our lives, like, oh fuck, we need more time, we need to do this, we need to do that in this time period.
I think with the way people live, it seems to be like you're pushing the constraints of time. Like the idea of sitting down and not worrying about that concept. I think it's how they built like all crazy architecture and beautiful paintings and things like that throughout history, is that the concept of time was different.
Definitely.
I think nowadays everything's so fast and so instant and so impulsive. I think
No, I know what you mean, and I feel like it's changed society. I've had a couple of conversations with a few people about this, where we're living in such an on-demand world where it's like, I want it now. No one's willing to just be patient, work hard, and get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if they don't get it instantly, they get the shits and they think, oh, it's fucking that person's fault,
Yeah.
It's a constant cycle. 2 seconds, I'll just go get that towels. That's so funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it too hot?
Nah. Nothing's too hot for me, baby.
So when did you start getting tattooed, man?
I think on record I was 18 and got a Misfits tattoo at a crummy bikey style shop. The guy was smoking cigarettes while tattooing me, and I was so petrified from getting my first tattoo that
Do you want to do that?
yeah, you passed me the phone. There it is, in the corner. Oceans Apart Tattoo, how can I help you? Matt's not in at the moment. He might be in at some point today. But is it regards to a tattoo? Alright, no worries, thank you. Bye-bye. Cut into my funny
That's
slash
right.
traumatizing story. But yeah, I got a tattoo on my arm by an old bikey dude, and he was smoking while tattooing me, and I was so petrified and traumatized from the whole thing that I never went back for a touch-up. So ended up getting tattooed elsewhere. But
Was this in the States?
No, this was actually up in Queensland. I won't name the shop because it's still there. But yeah, it's changed a lot since then. I think that shop now is actually quite beautiful.
Yeah.
I think they changed owners and stuff. But yeah, that was my first experience getting tattooed, and never planned to be a tattoo artist, but when I got into tattooing, I still remember that first day of getting tattooed and how awkward and, you know, I wouldn't say I was scared, it was more that I just did not feel comfortable whatsoever. It felt on edge.
Like getting tattooed or tattooing someone else?
I don't know, like being in that shop and getting tattooed by some guy who was just smoking ciggies,
yeah.
and, you know, and then when I got into tattooing, I still remember that very clearly in my mind, and said, you know what, I don't want to do that to people. So, yeah, I think it's quite nice how, you know, from say 12 years ago to like from getting tattooed during that time to where I work now and stuff, like the difference in what, just in that short period of time, of how just the way shops are, I think is quite interesting.
Yeah. Did you ever get confronted with, like, of course, like a lot of people, like, you know, they think, oh, tattoo shop bikies, straight up, you know? Did you get confronted with that stuff when you first started, or?
No, not at all. I've been quite lucky with that stuff. But I have been tattooed in shops when I was younger.
Yeah.
And where you could clearly see there was some dodgy stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
But then it wasn't until I got tattooed in Bondi at Collective Tattoo, which sadly no longer exists, but that's when I started to really see like artistry in tattooing. Like before that, I always thought it was just, oh, I want this, you put it on me.
Yeah.
And yeah, and came in with a photo that I'd taken of these magpies that used to sit outside my window. And I've been taking photos of them for a couple weeks, and got this one shot, and I was like, wow, this is such a weird angle. And took it to the artist, and yeah, she nailed it. It's one of my favorites. It's blasted across my chest. I went from a couple crappy tattoos on my legs and one on my arm to get my full chest.
Balls out, mate, just straight into it, eh?
Yeah, and I think after that I got a full back piece from Brett Pearl. Check him out, Pearler Tattoos.
He's still doing it, of course.
Yeah, I think he's been tattooing for close to 20 years, give or take. Still in the game.
In Sydney or?
He's here actually, occasionally, but he's mainly in Sydney. It's quite cool to actually see someone that, you know, did a huge tattoo on you and then like working with them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's,
see different perspectives and.
Yeah, I think it's weirdest part is like going from being a customer of someone and then working alongside someone in a field that's so hard to get into.
100%. Do you have any tips or hints for anyone that are like getting into a creative space, like a job that's, you know, requires them to be creative? Say being a tattooist, artist, designer, or...
Well, I think like there's a lot of people out there that they like the idea of being a tattooist, and that's not what it's about. It's you know, I think it's more of trying like develop yourself as an artist, and then if you do something long enough, you'll find something to do with it. You know, I didn't plan to be a tattoo artist. I wanted to be a painter, and then just somehow, I don't know the exact chain of events, but just one thing led to another, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, I'm tattooing all the time now. And yeah, I think if you focus on perfecting your artwork to a point where you're free flowing with it, I think is the most important thing. Because like the means to, you know, put down your creativity on paper, canvas, trinkets, timber, whatever it is. If you have the drive and the perseverance to, you know, struggle with it and take time, back to the time element.
Yeah.
You know, it took me, you know, 8 years to get to a point where of, you know, going to university and going to conceptual art school and developing and experimenting for years until I got to a point where I could live off it, you know. I think because of that concept of time, it's that people think like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do a couple drawings and I'm gonna be a tattooist or an artist.
Yeah, definitely. But I guess like that could be, like they could do that, but then it doesn't really define them as an artist really. It's just, this is just my opinion, my view on it as well. Like, I guess you can see a couple of people drawing and, you know, they haven't really like got into the artistry of it, and they just pretty much copy other people's, you know, work, or even just like, you know.
Yeah. Well, I had a really cool professor at uni, and he said, like, you know, there's 1 million people that can draw, and, you know, you don't necessarily have to know how to draw. You can teach yourself to draw. It's a craft, or a technique, or a trade, you know. But you have to ask yourself, why are you doing it?
Definitely.
It's like, what is your reason behind it? If it's to, you know, if you're seeking fame, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, you could be famous farting on camera if you want.
That's exactly right, man. 100%.
It's
Would you stop 2 seconds over the guitar again? So far away.
Could just move the microwave. Just move it down there. Get a random beep here and there.
Oh, it's my noodles already. Nah, man, 100% with
But yeah, you have to ask yourself, why are you doing something?
Yeah.
And, you know, if you have clear thoughts and you believe that's what you should be doing, and you put your heart and soul, sweat and tears and everything into it, you know, something will come of it.
100%. And you got to put that time in, you know what I mean? Like, we're on the topic of time today, but things don't happen overnight, you know what I mean? Like, and you shouldn't get discouraged for, like, if nothing does happen, like, just overnight, you know what I mean? These people that get success with, like, say, videos that go viral, videos, or things that go massive like that, you don't know how long that person took to get there.
Exactly.
I think people, because we live in such an on-demand world with, you know, with the social media and stuff, and you see things so instantly, like, oh, that person's like got a Lamborghini, or that person's done like this or that, or like that. It's kind of like, because it's so demanding, you can see it right there. It's like, how that person...
Yeah, because you just see, like...
You just see the good shit, you know? You
Yeah.
don't see the bad shit, the shit they went through to get that shit.
Yeah, like the heartache, sleepless nights, and self-doubt. There's so much that goes on that I think is lost a lot. And people think things just happen quickly because they just see it happen quickly.
Yeah. But you don't see that, like, you know, sometimes it does happen quickly, but at the same time, it still comes at a cost of like stress, and as you were saying, self-doubt, and all that bad shit that no one really likes to feel. Like everything's not always happy and exciting.
Yeah. But I think like if you're a creative individual, I think the hardest thing to do is the self-doubt. If you start putting that out of your system and start thinking like, you know what, I'm not going to be like so-and-so, or I'm not going to, don't worry about fame or glory, stuff like that. That comes with just being you, and if you're lucky enough to where you can succeed at something, then but you shouldn't get into anything creative on the idea of like wanting fame.
No, 100%.
It should be about the work. And
definitely. I'm always being humble there, because like, yeah.
Because I love the feel of that stuff. It's so nice. It's like, fuck, I wish I could do this every morning.
You'll just come over every morning.
Yeah, every
morning. And I'll hose you off in the hose shower.
It's like, oh, hot water? What? No, just kidding.
You live in a tent, right?
Yeah, in a tent. Yeah, not sure where I was going with my chain of thought. You're just enjoying this
It's a
removing of layers, metaphorically.
Yeah, it's a mad experience, and it's. Do you know what I find about life? Like, it's just everything is such just a lesson. Like, it's everything we're doing is just we're learning to not do certain things again, or to do things again, kind of thing. Like me doing this podcast and people that are listening now as well, like it's a lesson within itself. I've never done a podcast before, and not to take away from Zach here, but just as we're getting on the topic of creating and self-doubt and all this kind of topics that we're talking about today, it's this is my fourth kind of podcast, and in real time right now, like the first couple of podcasts that I've done, I've been very nervous. I've been very like, okay, how do I do this? How do I get the best out of the person, or how do I get the best out of this podcast? And it's just by doing it, and time really, and patience, and being persistent with it, and not getting stuck in the head mindset of like, oh fuck, it's not working, I'm not going to bother with it.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee I've been like, I go through it daily. Some people might be daily, some people might be weekly, some people might not get self-doubt. They're just full of the confidence, you know what I mean? Not give a fuck about anyone else.
I think if you're a true creative person, I think it's not a bad thing to have self-doubt, because it makes you critical on what you're doing, and you're perfecting and learning from your mistakes. But you can't get to the point where you can't sleep at night, and to the point where it affects your daily life.
I think being critical towards yourself, like saying, I need to improve certain things for yourself, rather than going, I need to improve something so I'm better than someone else. I feel like like as you were saying before, like don't try and be like someone else, or don't try and be this to be famous, or this or that, because then you'll never be your true form. Really, you'll just keep trying to chase something that's never there. What's it saying? Chasing the dragon or something?
Chasing the dragon. I think that revolves around drugs, but
that's alright.
Yeah, either way. But I guess
Classic
we could.
drug, mate.
Yeah, I think we could learn from our chat that success is discovering yourself more than the means to which you seek to perfect or do something.
Can't agree more with that,
But yeah, I kind of thing with being creative too is what kind of I find interesting about a lot of people that are younger than me. They think that going to a big city or something, say I'll take a very vague example as a musician, they'll go to a city to try and expand on their career and attempt to get more exposure and all this, but I think, why do you want to make that somewhere else? Why don't you try and build something where you're around, something that reflects the area that you're from or where you live, and create something in those areas. And then it's like can't remember the name of the film, but the quote from it is, "You build it, they will come." I think is a cool idea.
Yeah. Well, you're 100% right there. I feel that people that would like to go to the Big Apple, the city, they're chasing the fame there. You know what I mean? Because that's what they think. Oh, if I go to the city and I become big in the city, that means I'm big in the world, kind of thing. Or
yeah, and I think why? It's like you can build your own kind of scene, or say, like, let's take an example. Say there isn't a music venue for a certain type of music, or it's not really accepted where you are. Like, make it happen for yourself in that area and create something. More interesting things you have in an area. I think it's the idea of starting small and then building up.
it's just like anything being creative, or just anything. You got to start small. You can't just go, all right, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna be massive. It's that grind, it's that hustle every single day, like working on yourself to be the best you can be. One thing I'm learning is learning through life is there's never a point in life that is ever going to be like, all right, this is it. You know what I mean? You've done, you've finished, you've ticked all the boxes.
Yeah.
You're always going to be climbing. Always.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing, Like even if you're not a creative and you're just working or doing life. You still got to pay a mortgage or pay rent. You still got to go to work and do all that, But yeah, powerful talk today, but
yeah. Hope it's motivating.
Yeah,
I'm not a motivational speaker by any means, but
wow, it's the next career path, mate.
Yeah. Oh gosh, get rich quick following Zach's bad ideas. No, I think, I get a real buzz from, in my tight group of friends and things. I don't judge people by how successful or what they do for a living, stuff like that. I like to keep people close to me that are, not necessarily love life to the point where they don't care. It's that they try and embrace life and keep have interesting ideas, or like to contemplate, oh, what if you did this? Or then it gets to the questions of how can we do this? Even just having that conversation I find interesting, if it doesn't go into action.
Yeah.
But I like to keep that around me because it motivates me to do what I do.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
no, I'm 100% like that as well. That's why I enjoy hanging out with you.
Yeah.
I enjoy being around you because you're a creative and open-minded human being, which comes then to the point to you are who you surround yourself with as well.
Yeah, if I get buzzed off people that want to try things and aren't holding back, or whatever it is. You could be a plumber trying to fit the sickest frickin' tube down a house pipe, or changing the angle of it, which will improve the system. I love that stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's the most interesting part of what gives me a little bit of positive light to humanity is the idea of creating something new. I think that's the one thing humanity has that, still got going for itself.
Definitely.
I mean, yeah.
There's hope.
There is hope.
Right, we're going to leave it there.
Alright.
So good. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Fresh.
Fresh.
Thank you, Mad Dog Cut. It was wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.